Hi guys, and welcome back to the Milk Round, the Castlemilk Youth Complex podcast that we bring out every week. We are now on episode 15 of our podcast. We've been doing this for 15 weeks, so we have this video and 14 other videos up on our YouTube. If you can check them out, like our videos, subscribe to our channel, and ring the bell for notifications. That would help us out a lot. If you want to get us on other social medias, we do have them as well, and Chris will read through them for us just now.
Facebook is Kelly Youth Complex Staff, Twitter Youth Complex CYC, Instagram youth_complex, TikTok Kelly Youth Complex, and you want to email us at cycyouthteam@gmail.com.
Brilliant, happy days. So that's our social medias. If you want to suggest a topic for us to cover, hit us up on there, or if you need advice or anything like that, just get us on our social medias. Someone's always covering all of our social medias anyway. So Chris, you were back last week. It was good to have you back. A good return in the quiz as well. So you're still the undisputed champion, still flying. And how's the belt looking? Has it been polished yet?
It's. I have to say, I'm going to save that for later.
Right. Okay.
But if it's here or not,
Right.
We'll wait till later for that.
Okay. So as I say, we cover different topics on our YouTube channel on the podcast. And last week we decided to do something that Chris and myself are both into, and I suppose the viewers and listeners are probably into this platform as well. It was YouTube we covered last week. We just gave some of our thoughts on what YouTube is and how good it is and why we like it and sometimes why we don't like it. So that was kind of a podcast for us last week, wasn't it?
It really was, but I mean, we could have probably talked. I was saying we could have went 2 parts with that easily because it's such an all-encompassing kind of like platform that it covers almost every niche that you would be into. You know what I mean? So
we were talking about DIY music, cooking, and all that's probably on there and stuff. So it's a brilliant platform, and hopefully you guys can subscribe to our channel and help our numbers go up and up and up. So it was good to have you back, Chris. What have you been up to this week?
So, I mean, funnily enough, I had a wee kind of YouTube session, like your music session on Friday last week. It was watching, we're talking about why you started watching YouTube in the first place, and it's watching old footage of bands that you're into. So myself and my wife are quite into Roxy music, so particularly the kind of early first couple albums. So there's a really nice bit of footage from a kind of German TV show, and they played like a 20-minute set, and it was just blistering from start to finish. Eno was a machine back then, you know what I mean? Now, everyone slags Brian Eno off for his singing, but you don't appreciate the full talent of Brian Eno and Brian Ferry as well. Sorry, I'm getting my Eno's and my Ferries mixed up, but I was talking about Brian Ferry there, but Eno is hugely talented as well. Eno's in Roxy music, but you don't get Brian Ferry's full talent until you see him on stage.
Okay.
As just the consummate showman, a very dapperly dressed gentleman at all times throughout his life. So yeah, I'm a big Roxy fan. So we were doing that on the Friday. I've been a bit of a disaster area, I have to say, for the last few days. So I had a kitchen incident where I basically almost sliced the top of my thumb off. That was great. I then proceeded, I was continuing the kitchen and I was having a wee drink of my own brew like I would normally do. And I decided to inhale the iron brew instead of drink the iron brew. And I was choking in the kitchen. And did one member of my family come and see if I was okay, Lee? No. And then here's another one. So if that wasn't enough, within the space of an hour later, I'm on my phone, as many people do about their house, walk about barefoot. I dropped my phone on my foot. And I thought, well, it was quite sore. Yeah, I was smarted. And I was like, never thought anything of it. And I looked down half an hour later, and I had what could be described as half a Cadbury's cream egg shaped lump on my foot.
You're struggling to get shoes on now?
So it's went down a bit. I put ice on it and stuff like that. So overnight, it's the lumps went down, but the bruisings came out now. So it's like I've got like three
games,
toes that are all bruised and stuff like that. So I'm
different
really
colours.
actually quite proud of it, to be
Aye.
honest. So it's been a tale of two halves this week, you know.
Aye. That sounds a bit mad in your house. I've just well, I've got a good story to tell actually from my weekend there. So my football team were playing at the weekend, the team that I support, and it was on Sky Sports. So I thought, right, we'll go to the pub to watch football. So I went to a pub that we thought would be showing it, and unfortunately there was an English game on, Arsenal versus Liverpool. So we asked the people behind the bar, are you going to be showing the club that I support's game?
Other
Which
football clubs are available.
they are. I wouldn't advise you to go to other football clubs though. But it's a Glasgow-based team, and we were in a Glasgow pub, and we thought, right, why wouldn't they just show the game in Glasgow? Because you'd think that more people would want to watch that game than watch an English-based game. They says, "Oh, I don't know. I need to speak to the manager." And this was like 9 minutes before kick-off. So, like, right, we'll need to head somewhere else. Headed to a pub that is of the persuasion of the Glasgow-based team that I support. um, so went into a pub that it's like a supporters pub, so it is. Walked in, there was nobody. It went into the lounge. So a lot of bars in Glasgow, lounge and bar. Went into the lounge. There was nobody behind the bar. Somebody was like, "Oh, they're no serving in here. You need to go in to the bar." I know I'm not making sense here because lounge and bar, but they're two separate parts of the pub. Walk in there. Have you booked a table? Nope. No, you can't stay here. All right, okay, so we need to find somewhere else. Went to a different pub. Have you booked a table? Nope. Well, we're too busy. You can sit outside in a beer garden and look through the window at the big screen up the back. So we tried that, and with the reflections coming from the main street and stuff, you couldn't see anything. Tried three other pubs in that area. Two were closed, and one just wasn't. No, one was closed. One just wasn't showing it, and one was too full as well, and it was only letting regulars in. So we phoned two other bars, which were like 10-minute drive down the road, and we managed to get one of them, but it was a farce. So it was trying to find a pub to watch the football. So if I go out to watch football again, I'm going to book it about 3 weeks in advance because a lot of places aren't letting as many people in because of COVID and track and trace and things like that. But luckily we got in and my team scored just as we walked in the pub. So that kind of cheered us up a wee bit. Aye. But that was my eventful weekend. So it was. So we've both had quite eventful weekends. You've got a sore toe and I've had rushing about all the pubs in Glasgow.
It just shows. I mean, like I had the similar mentioned in last week's episode that I've been out for something to eat quite a lot, and actually it was quite hard to get like a booking for lunch, for example, on a weekday because this eat out to help out was a very popular kind of thing with people. So I book ahead because it would seem that is probably about the only socialising that's going to be going on over the next 2 weeks anyway. So as we will come to discuss.
Yep, definitely. We'll bring that up soon. So that's our weeks, and usually every week on the podcast we give you our news and then we give you a nice news story. So I'm just going to brush over two things that I thought were quite nice in the news this week. So, three things that I thought were quite nice in the news this week. So last Friday, Glasgow played Edinburgh at rugby, and they were allowed some fans inside the stadium, which I thought was good. It's good moving forward. They were testing it out, seeing what kind of protocols would need to be put in place to bring fans back into sporting venues. Apparently, it went quite well. So that's the people in there were guinea pigs almost, but it worked well. Everyone is tracked and traced, and hopefully that can get more people into sports venues in the future. Another thing is Aberdeen is officially out of lockdown. So our fans up north in Aberdeen and Peterhead and that can go back about their business and do whatever they need to do outside of the house, which is a good thing. And this weekend, another sports story, but if you're a Scotland fan, a football fan, Scotland are playing again, so we've not had international football for quite a while. So that'll be good if you're a Scotland fan. You can cheer on the boys in dark blue on Friday and Monday night in the Nations League, and hopefully we can get some points in that tournament, which don't come very often to Scotland and Hampden.
No. The last time Scotland were in a major competition, I was 18 years old.
Yep.
It was France '98.
Aye.
A long time ago.
I always say this because my background's in sport, obviously, and my girlfriend was telling me about she's a teacher now in a primary school, and one of the wee girls in her class was quite upset that the boys wouldn't let her play football, and I've told her to go in and say, ask the boys when was the last time the Scotland's men's squad was in a major tournament, and she was like, when was it? I says France '98. Ask the last time Scotland's women's team were in a major tournament, and it was the last Women's World Cup we got to. So the Scotland women's team is much better than the Scotland's men's team.
No, absolutely, yeah.
Yep. So,
agreed.
Whoever thinks that boys are better at football, then maybe brush up on your football knowledge.
That's a really good way of putting it, actually. And when you're mentioning about like things kind of returning, it was like I'm not much of a sports fan, so that's why I watch wrestling, I suppose. And the WWE have introduced a new concept where they've basically surrounded the arena with like screens.
Right.
So like much as the way we are recording this podcast now, it's everyone's kind of in an online kind of virtual crowd.
Yeah.
And there's been a wee bit of trolling going on, don't get me wrong. There's been a few wee kind of like wearing T-shirts from rival organisations or like putting up pictures of other wrestlers from other organisations. But generally it's been well received, you know, because it's a much like football, it's quite, the crowd adds to the experience, if you know what I mean. I know they've been trialling it with the football as well, but yeah.
I've seen that sometimes that they've done the screens, and I think in America the NBA playoffs are right now, and I've seen some of the clips from that, and they're doing the same. So I don't know how it would be in America. Probably quite pricey to get your screen.
I don't know how it works with the wrestling. I think they actually have to bid in for it, so I'm not sure it's a payment as such, because I think they're in it for the long run, because it's quite, they're not just recording that TV show, they're recording other TV shows, so I think there's a bit of, yes, it's like a ballot type thing, and if you fit the criteria, they'll let you in, you know. To the Thunderdome, as they're calling it.
Is that what it is? The Thunderdome?
Thunderdome.
That sounds even better, doesn't it?
I know.
Maybe turn Hampden into the Thunderdome on Friday night.
That's it, yeah.
Get the win. It probably will be the Thunderdome, looking at the weather.
Looking at the weather.
So that's our nice news we try and bring you this week. So that's our 3 stories we thought of this week. So we'll move on to what's on my telly and what's in my belly. The best part of the podcast every week. So last week we didn't come up with any recipes or anything because you were out and I was talking about a snack, I think, for what's in my belly. But we did give good recommendations for what's on my belly, and we're going to do the same again this week. So who wants to go first this week?
Well, I think you went first last week, I believe. I don't mind going first this week. So what's on my telly? And now this came up in the conversation when we're talking about, when I was watching we're having the YouTube disco, as I would like to call it, me and my wife. And I'm a big fan of The Doors, and I was talking about, there was a film of The Doors that came out. It was like a biopic by Oliver Stone, I think was the director. It was way back in the kind of like early 90s, right? So what I was saying was that if anyone disagrees with the fact that anyone round about our age, that wasn't the kind of main reason that kind of got people into The Doors at the time, then they're probably lying, to be honest, because The Doors were a kind of probably a niche kind of 60s band at that point, but that really brought them in my opinion, that kind of brought them back again to another generation of fans. And I count myself as one of them. But in the same kind of breath, my wife was talking about, that's probably kind of like Bohemian Rhapsody a few years ago to a lot of people of that kind of formative generation. And I'd said, I haven't seen Bohemian Rhapsody before. Oh, really? And she's like, what? so we've got this pact that I would watch Bohemian Rhapsody if you watched The Doors. So I watched Bohemian Rhapsody, to cut the long story short, and it was a great film. I mean, it was heavily criticised at the time for coming out for not being factually accurate, and it's much like the Doors film that I watched back then. It wasn't factually accurate, but it was a good platform to get you into the band and do your research and find out about the band. So the film Bohemian Rhapsody was originally cast. It was Sacha Baron Cohen that was originally cast
I read
for
that somewhere.
Freddy, and there was a lot of disagreements in the background. This film, and he kind of left, and then they had to recast it. But the film was besieged with problems, and before it was made, it was never made. So
Okay.
it was. So it's quite an achievement for it to even get released in the first place, I think. But the end scene, when I was watching it, I actually got quite emotional watching like the end scene at Wembley. I was just like, because it was just the way they framed it up into that point. And there's another YouTube, mentioning YouTube again, there's a YouTube video out there that shows you the real footage of Live Aid against the film. And it's almost identical down to the drinks that are on the piano, the Pepsi cans, and his movements and all that. Rami Malek, who played Freddie Mercury's movements, are almost a mirror image of kind of what went on. So there was attention to detail in that respect. And yes, I'll agree, it wasn't factually accurate to the T, but a really good all-round watch, and it's highly recommended. And it's a PG 12 or 13, so it's something that I think could comfortably recommend to all our members if they haven't seen it. I know that there's one of our members in particular who's a big Queen fan, Jasper, I'll give you a mention, Jasper, there you go, who's a huge Queen fan and still, I believe, loves the film anyway, who probably knows everything about Queen, you know. So yeah, that was what's on my telly this week.
What did you watch on, Chris?
Oh God, I can't remember. I'm pretty sure I actually had to buy it on Amazon, so I don't think it's available on Netflix or anything like that now. So I'm pretty sure you can purchase it.
Might be on Now TV. Might be not 100%.
I don't have that, so.
But if you just check out Amazon, then you can buy it on there.
You can buy most things on Amazon, like,
and then the DVDs are out as well. So
yeah, that's it. Yeah.
What are you rating that out of 10 then?
I would say it's a good solid 8. Because it wasn't like, oh, it's the best film I've ever seen, but it was just a really good watch, you know.
And what I know you're not recommending the other one, but what's the Doors movie called?
The Doors. That's it. Yeah, The Doors.
Who plays Jim Morrison in it?
It's Val Kilmer.
Is it?
It's as if anyone was destined to play Jim Morrison in a film, it was Val Kilmer. And when you see him, when you look at Val Kilmer in his younger days, and you look at the two, Jim Morrison and Val Kilmer, they're almost identical looking, you know. So, yeah.
Right, brilliant. Bohemian Rhapsody. I'd second that recommendation. I loved that when at the cinema and seen it, and it was brilliant. I was almost singing in the cinema and things like that. Ready. So that's what's on your telly, Chris. What's in your belly this week?
So what's in my belly? Right. So I've got a few things. So I'm going to try and use the kind of wizard of technology again. Okay. The technology wizard will hopefully favour me, and that I just want to make people aware of this one, because this is probably something that my dad kind of like exposed me to, and I've kind of carried on. So I don't think anyone of my age even or younger will probably know what it is. So I'll test this one out. So you can get this from your local butcher. It's called potted meat. Okay.
Okay.
It's kind of like a meat paste, like a patty type meat paste, but it's made with beef. I'm going to try and share the screen and see if this will work for us. So it doesn't look very appetizing. I'm just going to say that from the outset. But it's like a savoury delight. You spread that in a bit of toast.
Right.
And if you like kind of like stuff like quite kind of salty, kind of meaty, kind of savoury taste, this is a great win for you. So definitely give it a try. I'm just that's my kind of precursor. That's not my official what's in my belly.
Okay.
What is in my belly?
Oh, sorry. It kind of looks like KFC gravy.
A wee bit. It's like that colour. The colour varies between that and a kind of reddish colour. So it's made from beef. So if you can imagine, it's just the way that it's maybe being cooked. My local butcher, it's kind of more reddish colour. And you pick it up for maybe £1 or £2. It's not that expensive. It's something that my dad really got me into from an early age. He was into all these kind of really, I suppose back in the day, it would have been quite an economical dinner for people and stuff like that. So try it out. If you don't like it, you don't like it. It's going to be akin to Marmite. You either love it or hate it, one of these two. So that I'm recommending it anyway.
Okay.
But what my official one is, something I hadn't done for a while, is making pulled chicken. Now, lots of people know about pulled pork. Now, pulled pork can be a wee bit fiddly to make because it takes a lot longer to break down the meat so that it's in that kind of pulled apart consistency. Now, don't get me wrong, pulled pork is worth the time if you want to put the time in for it. But if you've not got the time, like most people don't, then chicken is a great alternative. I prefer to use chicken thighs. What I'll put in with those chicken thighs, I'll put some smoked paprika. I'm going to put some onion powder. I'm going to put some garlic. I might even chop an onion into a pot and fry that off. I'm going to add barbecue sauce. I'm going to add Worcester sauce, anything that you fancy that kind of mimics that taste. I'm going to leave it on the pot. I'm going to cook it covered. I might need to add liquid to that, just depending. You don't want it to kind of burn too much. Yeah. But because if it's chicken thighs, they're quite sympathetic to that, and they'll eventually break apart. It only takes maybe 40 minutes to an hour to cook something like that, compared to pulled pork, which is going to take maybe 3 or 4 hours.
Yeah.
So it's a good time saver. It's a really versatile thing to use. You can use it in a burger, like a pulled chicken burger. You can just chuck it in a bun and put whatever you would normally put in a burger, like sauces. You can chuck it on top of some nachos. You can put it in a burrito. You can use it as a pizza topping. It's something you could cook a big batch up and then just put it in the freezer and portion it off, bring it out as you need it. So, and it's really economical as well. So if you're using chicken thighs, for example, that is a really economical cut to use, and it's really tasty. So give it a shot.
Aye. Pulled chicken, there you go. And if anybody needs a recipe, just hit us up on our social medias.
Yep, messages and I'll give you a wee rundown.
But like you're saying, you can probably just add what you think the flavour of the chicken you want.
Yeah, you need that. You definitely need that smoked paprika hint. Or, you can sometimes get these pre-made spice kits that are kind of like sticky barbecue type thing. That'll work. Don't be too fussy about it. Just chuck it in. Experiment, see what you like, because everyone's got different tastes with it, and that's the beauty of this type of recipe, is it's open to interpretation.
Brilliant. Happy days. So that was what's in your belly. So I suppose we'll go what's in my telly now. So mine's a movie as well, Chris, and mine's is a war movie that it's certified as a 15. I would say be a mature 15-year-old if you're going to watch this. And it's set in 1945 in Berlin when the Americans are coming in to liberate Europe, and it follows a tank patrol made up of Brad Pitt, who's the leader of the platoon, Shia LaBeouf, I always forget the kind of Latin American actor, and a boy who's just recruited into the army. It's his first time in the front line, and he's shipped with these guys. It's called Fury. I don't know if you've heard of Fury.
I haven't, no.
I watched it last night. It's a 2-hour movie, but a lot of people get put off with a time scale like 2 hours and don't watch it. But you're on the edge of your seat for the whole movie, which is good about this. Some 2-hour movies will take like half an hour of stuff that just doesn't need to be in there. But this one's brilliant. And the last one, the last character I was describing, he's Percy Jackson, the actor who plays him, and he's a new recruit. He's never been in the front line. And he's put in with these guys who've fought together in North Africa, through France, through Belgium, and now they're going to Germany. So they're used to the army life. They're used to fighting every day. They're used to not getting sleep. They're used to taking over villages. And there's a lot of like moral decisions to be made by the young boy who's just recruited into the army. It's a brilliant watch. I'd definitely give it a 9.5 out of 10. Aye, I love war movies. And there's been quite a good few out recently. 1917's another recommendation. Saving Private Ryan's a classic. Hacksaw Ridge with Andrew Garfield, but Fury, that was the first time I watched it this week, and definitely up there with those type of movies.
Yeah.
Sorry, just clicking something off my computer
It's
there.
okay.
So yeah, you can find that on Now TV. That's on the movie section of Now TV. 2 hour movie, very good watch. But wouldn't recommend it to our younger listeners and viewers because there is some gory parts which kind of tells a true story of history, which is good about it as well.
Yeah. No,
Because
that's good.
a lot of these things are a lot of movies like that are Hollywood, so they need to make it action scenes that are just would never happen.
Yeah.
A lot of this would happen, and I'll leave it at that, probably.
I think 1917 was like that as well, wasn't it?
Yeah,
It was that
yeah,
kind of, you almost felt like you were part of it.
yep,
You know what I mean? The way it was
yep,
shot and stuff like that. So, yeah, I'm always open to a war movie, so I'll be checking that out
yeah.
if I can
Check that out.
source
Brad
it.
Pitt's brilliant in it as well, so he is.
Mm-hmm.
I quite like Brad Pitt in all his movies. He's
Mm-hmm.
always quite different in
Yeah.
movies, but it was excellent in that. You kind of felt like he was a real soldier and he'd been there and seen things, and the way he takes. There's some parts of the movie where he'll take a minute to himself and you can see him reflecting on things, and
Mm-hmm.
it looks like a real soldier and somebody who's seen things that no man should ever see, kind of thing. But aye, check that out, Chris, and all of yours and listeners. It's a great movie.
Mm-hmm.
So what's on my belly? So this week it's very simple. This tonight actually for my dinner, I had southern fried chicken. So you can buy packs of that, which you just have to put in the oven.
Mm-hmm.
I cook that. I make some pasta, boiled pasta. Get a nice peri peri sauce. I use Nando's, but other peri peri sauces are available. And put it all in a bowl, and it tastes brilliant. So it does. I love Nando's and going to Nando's and even other wee peri peri places that are open, and I just like the taste of peri peri. It's a brilliant taste with chicken and things like that. But this mixture goes well together, and sometimes I throw some cheese in there as well.
Oh.
Like a pasta bake kind of style, but you can throw other stuff like veg in that in as well. But it's really simple. It honestly takes like 10 minutes, 10, 15 minutes, however long your chicken takes, whatever chicken you get, either frozen or chilled. Um, and aye, it's really simple. We made it in 10 minutes tonight and ate it even quicker because it's really easy. So recommend to maybe viewers and listeners who are going off to uni soon or
Yeah.
college. You'll be eating a lot of pasta, a lot of noodles. If you're living alone or living in accommodation, student accommodation, stock up on your pasta and noodles. And then if you're feeling like you want to spend a wee bit more money that week, buy some Nando sauce.
Good recommendation. You're saying you're using a kind of breaded southern fried chicken.
Yep.
That's a great thing to have in your freezer. Like, you can get them from shops and buy them in bulk and stuff like that. Another thing you can do with that is if you kind of slice it down, add a bit of salad into a wrap with some kind of mayonnaise, and you're making a kind of southern fried chicken wrap. You can use it, get some chips on the go. You can do a loaded fries type scenario, chuck it on top of that, cheese, any kind of the sauces. I like a big purveyor of Hellman's chili garlic sauce.
Right,
You can only get it in the big supermarkets. It's quite hard to get. Other garlic sauces are available, but this is the best sauce for that sort of kind of chicken type vibe, or any just dipping in chips. It's awesome. So yeah, no, that's a really versatile kind of thing to have in your freezer. Just you can use it for pasta, as you're saying as well. So yeah, good one.
Especially if you're in a rush, like you come home from school or from work and going to bed to college or whatever, and you're like running late for something else that night, or you're going out that night, or even if you just can't be bothered making a big dish from scratch. So that's my recommendation this week. If you need the recipe, give us a shout. I think when's our milk round cookbook coming out, Chris? Is it next year?
We're still negotiating with the publishers now. A few of the big boys are in a bidding war right now, so just having to play it cool. We shouldn't talk about it too much because it might influence it a wee bit, you know.
Aye, but I don't even know what we're talking about. Milk round cookbook? No, not heard it. So this week we didn't know what topic to go for, but as the news came out yesterday, we record this on a Wednesday, bring it out on a Thursday, but news came out on Tuesday this week from Nicola Sturgeon and it's a wee bit more about COVID and what we should do in certain local authorities in Scotland. Chris, I think you've got the information there that kind of comes through.
I'll try and keep this brief because, like, nobody kind of likes being dealt with today. But it's obviously quite clear that there's a good body of evidence that out there that this is originating from people visiting each other's house. Now, that might be having mad parties or whatever, because that's what a lot of people are framing it, but it could simply just be visiting somebody's house for a wee while, and the social distancing might go out the window or something like that. So from, like, for the next 2 weeks, basically, you cannot meet with people from other households inside.
Mm-hmm.
You can meet outside, and you can meet in what they're calling controlled areas, which are like bars and pubs that have got control measures in place, basically. And I think there's a few kind of other caveats to this. So if there's extended households, so I think that maybe applies to people that have formed an extended bubble, for example. Right. I'm thinking, like, my mother looks after my kids sometimes and does school pickups.
Yeah.
That seems to be okay. Mm-hmm. If you're like two partners living in other households, that seems to be okay as well.
Right.
If you've got a caring duty to somebody from another household, then that's also okay. But I think maybe just the lesson from this is it's only 2 weeks. Let's screw the nut and get on it, and we'll all be grand again after that, kind of thing.
And we'll be posting updates on our social medias as well. So if you're like struggling to understand it, we'll be putting links to like the Scottish Government, like recommendations, things like that, and the guidelines. And always just check out the news. Like, it's all over the news. So you need to know exactly if what you're doing is right or wrong. Just go online and check it out on there. Let's try and stick to the rules for another couple of weeks. We've been doing it for months now, so another 2 weeks isn't going to hurt. And if you do want to meet people, book somewhere and go and meet them.
That's what I've had to do. I had plans this weekend, and we've had to move those plans about now to accommodate the rules. So we're now, rather than meeting in the house, it has to be, we're going to meet in a restaurant somewhere for a few hours, and then that's it, you know.
Happy days. So that is our topic covered for this week, is what to call it a topic. But if you guys have any other topics you want us to cover in the podcast, just give us a shout in the comments below or on our social medias. So now we get to the last part of the podcast, which is the quiz. Now, you came back last week after a wee absence, and you came back and stormed the quiz, so you did quite convincingly.
Aye.
Now, an ex-challenger spoke on our social medias, an ex-challenger of the name Kirsty Chapman, tried to call you a cheater because you'd done some research.
Mm-hmm.
She came to me in school as well. We both work in Castlemilk High School, and says, "How did you let Chris away with it?" And I shot her down. She came on our social medias, and you shot her down because the OG posts stick together.
Oh, aye.
But you weren't cheating. You'd researched it. You didn't look at your research. You remembered your research. Unlike Kirsty, who researches it and does this with her research.
A bit similar to like this. You know, what am I looking at here?
Oh, wow.
I'm looking at this newly shined up, professionally treated belt of the champion. Now, yes, I did research, but I told you the reason why I did research. I was trying to date when I started looking at YouTube, and other facts seeped in. I wasn't reading off a sheet of paper.
No.
I wasn't reading off a phone screen. Do
No.
you know what I mean? I applied that knowledge, and that is the actions of a champion.
Aye. So we're calling you out, Casey, Kirsty Chapman, Abs, as you like to call yourself when you come on the podcast. Come and have a go if you think they're hard enough.
She was invited tonight, but she said she was too busy. After all that outrage on social media, she ran for the hills.
Right, we'll get her on. We'll get her on another time, definitely. It's a kind of dig to Harry as well. Do you mean that time he cheated?
Yes,
Aye.
yes.
We've had a
There's
few of
been a
them.
lot. There's been a lot. I feel like back in the day, Hulk Hogan, in his glory days, when he was coming into contact with all these dastardly villains,
Right.
and he saw them all off, despite their cheating, he still remained the
Aye.
champion.
Well, it's good that you've just made that kind of wee link to wrestling because this week we have
Ooh.
a wrestling quiz, Chris. I know you're a big fan, so I
Oh,
thought,
I better do good at this.
why don't I bring a wrestling quiz to the table? And I don't know what era you liked. So the era I liked was Attitude Era because it's the era I grew
Okay.
up with. And I was going to do a quiz all on that, but then I couldn't find enough information. And
Mm-hmm.
like you said, you were trying to get a guest on. I didn't
Yep.
want to do a wrestling quiz for you against the guest because that would
Oh,
be
that would be dodge.
aye, that would be dodgy. We'll do that to Castlemilk one time.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
so this time I've just went for wrestlers in their quotes or their
Okay,
catchphrases.
okay.
I'm going to give you a catchphrase. You tell me the wrestler. It's
All
as
right
simple
then.
as that. You ready?
Okay.
Champion. So first one is know your role and shut your mouth.
The Rock.
You know what I'd like you to do, but you need to do an impression of each of them after I give you give you the catchphrase, and then say the wrestler.
What did you just say there, Lee?
Know your role and shut.
It doesn't matter what you said.
There we go. That's one. The Rock. Well done. You ready for the second?
Okay.
Now, can you dig that sucker?
It's five-time WCW World Champion Booker Man, Booker T.
Well done. That's two. Number three. You're fired.
That is the chairman of the board, Vincent Kennedy McMahon. You're fired.
Well done. I think the impressions are getting you the points rather than the answers.
Did I get bonus points for that?
Listeners, aye. Oh, it's true. It's damn true.
That is my Olympic hero, your Olympic hero, Mr. Kurt Angle, one of the finest to grace the ring.
That's right. So that's 4 out of 4. Number 5. I spit in the faces of people who don't want to be cool.
Now, didn't really know this much of this guy's work, but I know who it is. It's Carlito.
It is Carlito, yeah.
I wasn't really into. I wasn't really an active watcher at that period. I kind of fell out with it. You kind of fall in and out of it, but I used to kind of spit an apple and
yep.
People.
That was kind of like just after Attitude. That was kind of PG era, probably. Yeah. Went a bit strange at that point. But that's right, Carlito, well done. The next one is the best there is, the best there was, the best there ever will be.
That is the Hitman, Bret Hart.
That is correct. Well done. 100% so far. Next one is, oh yeah, dig it.
It is another man who's one of the best workers out there. Macho Man Randy Savage. Oh yeah, dig it.
I get you a bonus point in that one.
Thank you.
And that's the bottom line.
Because Stone Cold said so.
He did. He did say it many times, and that's why it became his catchphrase, and that's why you get a point, Chris. And the last one, which is maybe a bit trickier. My name is, and I love to fight.
It's Fit Finlay.
Finlay is correct, aye. Can you do an impression of Finlay?
To be sure now.
That's a very good impression. So that's us, aye. You got 10 out of 10. Easy as that.
Aye, you're going to need to go much harder in a wrestling quiz to catch me out.
I definitely will. But I mean, what I kind of done that for is so that all the challengers out there are shaking in their boots now.
Yeah, that's it.
It's kind of one of these ones that you keep speaking about, like the guy comes out with fireworks and all that. Oh, so I'm setting you up just to put you on the pedestal, and all the other competitors are just looking up like, oh no, we have to face that in the Royal Rumble.
I could be like kind of talking trash, like talking about my championship, and then you went slip them into the Zoom call, and it's like somebody coming in, and you're getting cut off, and you look out.
Aye. The mic just drops at your hand. We need to get somebody like Jerry Lawler on here as well.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Aye, somebody just commentating. Oh my god! Oh my god! So that is our podcast for the week. Still easily the champ. It's too easy for you, Chris. We need to make it harder. So, Kirsty Chapman, come and have a go if you think you're hard enough.
Also, there was Darren Stewart was issued a challenge tonight, and he couldn't make it either.
Right, okay.
So I've been issuing challenges. Nobody seems to want to have a piece of it.
Right. Who's next? Who's our next challenger then? They two are out the way. Who are we going for? Who are we gunning for? We need to just pick out a name.
Everyone and anyone can come against us, but they will feel the wrath of the champ.
We need a nickname for you as well, like a wrestling nickname.
You think about that one.
Right, okay. Get our suggestions in our social medias and in our comments down below. Please like and subscribe to our channel, ring the bell for notifications, and drop those suggestions in our social medias for Chrissy's wrestling name, which you can get us on at
Telly Youth Complex Staff on Facebook, Twitter, Youth Complex CYC, and Instagram, it's youth_complex, and TikTok, Kelly Youth Complex, and you can drop us an email at cycyoutheteam@gmail.com.
Brilliant. That is episode 15 done and dusted. Check out our other podcasts. See you on the next one. Bye, guys.
Bye.